The hottest June on record, with the likelihood of more to come. The blame directed at climate change. Human behaviour warming the earth has driven up the chances of record heat across the UK. And there are warnings that the joy at packed beaches belies the impact on wildlife and nature.
As these weather events become more frequent, we unfortunately are going to see more catastrophic events like the fire that whipped through this ecosystem.
So what will this mean for our weather going forward, and how will it impact wildlife in the UK? Well, Alex will join us to talk us through it all, also tonight. You're paying 6 pence a litre more at the pumps, and it's the supermarkets driving up the price. A charging electric bike is the likely cause of a fire that killed almost an entire family. Puppies taken too soon from their mothers and denied water and sleep. The popular puppy yoga classes the RSPCA wants banned. And
Australia has been booed off the pitch at lunch following a controversy.
How what they call whinging Poms became a diplomatic incident. Rishi Sunak wades in on the Ashes furore.
This is the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
Good evening. June's record-breaking temperatures were partly a result of climate change. That's according to the Met Office. Worryingly, it was almost a whole degree hotter than the previous records set in both 1940 and 1976. New highs were also recorded in all 4 UK nations, and many counties were 2.5 degrees above the June average temperature. More heat waves are predicted this month and next. It's already proving deadly for our wildlife, it's threatening for human life, and is leading to droughts and wildfires. Rhys Williams reports on the impact of the soaring heat.
Today, Llinfach Nature Reserve in the Vale of Neath is calm. But in June, this beauty spot was ravaged by a devastating wildfire. An extremely dry month, coupled with significantly hotter than average temperatures, created the perfect conditions for a fire which burned for 7 days.
It came from that side over there initially and then whipped through along the cliffside here.
The blaze damaged more than 100 acres of land at the nature reserve, where wildlife officers were already struggling to arrest an alarming drop in the number of water voles, due in part to climate change.
So as these weather events become more frequent, we unfortunately are going to see more catastrophic events like the fire that whipped through this ecosystem here.
Very low rainfall figures had an impact on urban wildlife too.
I would say we had probably 50% more hedgehogs admitted in June with water-related dehydration problems.
Last month was the hottest since 1884, with the UK recording an average temperature of 15.8 degrees centigrade. It beat the previous record held for the month in 1940 and 1976. It has the fingerprints of climate change, according to a rapid study by the Met Office, which reveals we are now twice as likely to see new records for the month of June than we were in the 1940s.
This year, June 2023, should be a wake-up call for future climate change. Not only have we seen records broken going way back into 1884, but also we're starting to see the impacts of climate change here and now.
Last month's record-breaking heat was felt in all 4 nations of the UK. Each one recorded their warmest June since records began.
Well done, David.
But the risk of extreme heat is heightened in older people. On the hottest days last summer, care home deaths were nearly 10% above average.
June was extremely hot ever I have experienced in past, and we had to do a lot of care and pay a lot of attention towards the dehydration.
Back at Llinfach, the green shoots of recovery are already visible. But in this valley and across the UK, there's concern that these record-breaking temperatures are becoming far too common.
OK, let's get more on this from Alex. He's at a lake in Solihull. Hundreds of fish died in the heat last month, didn't they, Alex? Now, just last week, you told us to expect these records to be broken. So just how much of it is down to climate change, then?
Well, Charlene, it all seems to be pointing towards human-induced climate change, and as we've been hearing, it is having a massive impact on the environments around us. I'm here in Birmingham, in Solihull, and this lake saw a number of fish die throughout the month of June, and that is being put down to that long period of heat that we had, reducing the amount of oxygen in the water, which led to the fish dying. Now, of course, it is hard to attribute a single event to climate change, but when you have a number of events, you can start to spot trends and draw to some fairly confident conclusions. And as I say, it is being blamed on human-induced climate change, and as Reese was talking about those records that have been broken, so June 2023, as I was saying last week, was going to be a record breaker. So our new mean average temperature is 15.8 degrees Celsius. Worth bearing in mind when we look at the bigger picture that 8 of the 12 calendar months have all seen new average temperature records set since 2006. And what was quite astonishing about June 2023 was just how intense and how long the heat lasted for. So we had a fortnight where the daytime max temperature didn't drop below 25 degrees Celsius in some parts of the country. Let's actually take a look at our temperature map throughout June. And if you take a look at the scale on the side, you'll notice that across many parts, across all parts rather, it's a shade of red. Dark out towards the west and also the northwest, where temperatures were way above average for them for the time of year. In fact, 72 counties across the UK actually broke their June temperature records, which is quite astonishing. That obviously runs in correlation with the amount of sunshine hours that we had throughout the course of June as well. And as you can see, as we look north, west, east, it's above average across all parts. And of course that does run in correlation with our rainfall, which we know was way down. Again, if you take a look at the scale on the side, you can see those very dark brown colours representing that some parts of the UK, particularly out towards the southeast and the southwest, saw less than 20% of their expected monthly average rainfall. All this, I know, is quite hard to digest, but there are signs that things are getting worse, and of course we all have to do something about it. Stay tuned though, I'll have the national forecast coming up a bit later in the programme.
Indeed, we'll see you a bit later, Alex. Thanks very much.